This week, I'm going to lead you through a short hands-free practice for stretching the legs. So we're going to do only seated and lying down poses that release tension around the hips and around the legs. And we're going to do all of this without putting any weight pressure on the hands or the wrists. Let's get started. For this week's practice, a couple of yoga blocks or some books or maybe some kind of boxes might be quite handy in case you want to lean onto your arms but not onto your hands. So you could use those blocks under your elbows as we lean into the poses. And in the end, some kind of support under the pelvis for the last couple of poses would be quite handy. So we're going to do everything seated or lying down today. And we're going to start from a deer pose. So bring yourself into a seat and then bring your right leg somewhere next to you or behind you and leave your left shin in front of you. Now I'm already here going to move my blocks in front of me because I know that in the next pose I'm going to use them. So you could do the same. You could have your blocks waiting in front of you. And then we're going to first go into a twist. So sitting in that deer, you might already feel a bit of a stretch opening around the right hip, maybe in the left leg. And we're gonna go into a twist. So bring the back of your right hand to the outside of your left thigh, and then see if you can reach the left hand, the back of the left hand, maybe behind the pelvis or behind the lower back. So not leaning onto the hands. And as you inhale, open the chest. Then exhale, gently twist your chest just a bit further to the left. Now it might be that your right buttock comes more off the mat as you go into that twist. That is very fine. Or it might be that you want to try kind of grounding, dropping that right hip down. This might change the sensations around that right hip. Make sure there's no pain, no cramping in that right hip. And keep breathing. Take another couple of breaths in and out. And then slowly with an exhalation, start to release that twist and see if that right hip drops down more as well. Then we're going to go into forward bend. We'll leave our legs as they are. And rather than leaning onto the hands, I'm going to lean onto the elbows, and that's why the blocks today are quite nice. So I'm going to lean onto my elbows and inhale. Exhale. See if you could lean just a bit more down and forward. Maybe it's just dropping the head down. Or if you feel that there's space to lean more forward, you might walk the elbows a bit further forward. So looking for a gentle stretch maybe around the left buttock, maybe the left thigh. Maybe you feel this in that back leg, in that right leg. And it could be also opening for the back of the spine as we are leaning into a forward bend. Take a couple more breaths in and out. And with each exhalation, try to release tension around the hips and the big muscles of your buttocks, your thighs. And from there, slowly as you inhale, start to bring your head to your back up. And once you are up in a seat, we're going to open the right leg out to the side. The left leg either staying where it is, or you might open the left leg a bit further out to the left side. And I'll bring my blocks now on each side of that right leg. And we're going to come into a side bend and opening for the inner thigh hamstring area in that right leg. So first, as you inhale, lengthen your left arm up. And as you exhale, start to slide your right arm along that right leg. And then maybe lean your right elbow onto a block. Your block could be also very high up. That might give you a better support. And having that left arm up is very optional. So you'd be very welcome to bring it also behind the back, like we had in that twist. And as you stay a bit longer, you might lower the elbow further down. You might also lean onto that right leg. Breathing here. Send your breaths all the way down towards the hips. And if you feel that there's a lot of tension around or along the spine, send your breaths more towards the sides, down and up along the spine. Take another breath in and out. And then as you inhale, slowly, slowly bring yourself back up. Release the arms. And then we're going to turn even more towards that right leg. And here, you could bring that left foot to the inside of your right thigh. I have my blocks here on each side of that right leg. We're going to lean a bit further forward. Inhale, reaching the back forward. And exhale, bring elbows onto the blocks. So one block on each side of that right leg. Inhale there again. And exhale, maybe lean even slightly further forward. Not forcing the pose. So we're looking for opening along the back side of that right leg. So maybe hamstring, maybe calf. You decide if you flex your ankle or if you want to point your ankle. Keep the shoulders soft, and again, release your head down. So trying to soften through the neck. Take another breath in and out. Active breaths with each exhalation, releasing into the pose just a bit further. And then as you inhale, slowly, slowly again, roll the back up. Open the chest. You could roll the shoulders a couple of times. And then we're going to change legs the other way around into that deer pose. So now right leg in front of you, left leg next to you or behind you. So the left knee is bent. And it might be that the left hip, left buttock doesn't go down onto the mat. That's very, very fine. You might feel a stretch here already. I definitely feel some stretching around that left hip and thigh, inner thigh especially. Make sure it's not pain, okay? So let's stay on the safe side. And you could, again, bring your blocks already here in front of you if you want to use them when we go into the forward bend. But then we go into the twist first. So now I'll bring the back of my left hand to the outside of the right thigh and then reach the back of the right hand behind the pelvis, behind the back. Inhale there to open the chest. And then exhale, continue twisting just a bit further to the right. And again, notice when you move into that twist, what happens around that left hip, around that left buttock. Does the hip maybe come more off the floor? That's very, very fine. Or do you feel it's comfortable to drop that left hip down? And does twisting create more sensations around the hips, around the legs? So observing those connections as well. And we are breathing. Let's take another breath or two in and out here. Send your breaths down towards the belly, down towards the hips. And then exhale, slowly release. Come back to the center. If you need to adjust anything in the legs, you can adjust. And then we're going to lean into a forward bending deer. So I have my blocks here. I'll exhale and bring elbows onto the blocks. And Again, the blocks could be higher up as well, or books, boxes, you can turn them the other way round. And with an inhalation, you could reach slightly head forward, and exhale. See if you could lean, see if you could relax just a bit further into that forward bend. And where are the sensations now? Maybe around the right buttock, maybe around the right thigh. Maybe around the left hip. Again, left buttock might be happily off the floor. That is very, very fine. Are your ankles pointed or flexed? Does that change the sensations? Breathe down and up along the spine, down towards the hips. Take another breath or two in and out. And then with an in breath, slowly, slowly bring your head, your back up. Open the chest. And we're going to now open the left leg out to the left side. And again, right leg could stay where it is, or you might open the right leg a bit further out to the side. We have the side bend first, and I have now my blocks on each side of the left leg. Again, so I can lean my elbow onto the block. And we start by lengthening the right arm up, inhale. And as you exhale, lean, kind of slide towards that left leg. Maybe it's nice to bring elbow onto the leg. I'll lean onto the block. This side is clearly tighter, so I'm going to stay a bit higher up. So we get that side bend along the right side body, and you might feel this around the right hip. I'm suggesting you might feel this in the inner thigh, maybe hamstring off that left leg. And remember, you could bring that right arm also behind the back. So the arm is in a bit kind of extra here. It might give you more sensations, but it's not the main focus of the pose. And release the neck, release the shoulders. Take another breath or two in and out. And then slowly we're going to again inhale, lift back up. And release arms down. And we're going to turn more towards that left leg. Again, I'll bring now the right foot to the inside of that left inner thigh. And then start to lean forward from the pelvis. So you could have your blocks there in under elbows. Inhale, reaching the back, head slightly forward. And exhale. See if you could release the back, the neck, the head down. And see if you could find maybe an opening, stretch on the back side of that left leg. Maybe on the back side of the spine. Or maybe for you, this is more for that right leg, that bent leg. Release tension with every breath out. Let's take a couple more breaths here, in and out. Is this side tighter or easier, more relaxed than the other? You can also observe those differences. And then slowly, slowly, as you inhale, bring yourself back up. You could open the chest, the shoulders by rolling the shoulders. And then we're going to come lie down on the back. We're going to have a couple more poses lying down. And here, have one or two blocks, books, boxes nearby. Just roll yourself to lie down on the back. And you could a couple of times swing the legs a bit from side to side. And now we're going to go more to the front side. So we've been opening through the back side quite a lot. Now we're going to go to the front. And we're going to go into a reclining dragon pose. And that's why we use the block. We're going to first have both feet on the mat. And from there, start to lift your pelvis, lift your back off the mat. So already here, opening through the front. And then we're going to bring a block or a box or maybe a couple of books under the pelvis so that you could lean your pelvis onto a block. So without lifting yourself up, you can keep your pelvis off the mat with the support of that block. Make sure there's no pain in the lower back. And then once you have found that place, bring your right knee towards the chest. If you want, you could hold that knee or bring hands to the back of the thigh, but you don't have to. It could be that your arms just stay somewhere on the floor, whichever feels best for you. And if you want to go further, start to straighten that left leg, kind of sliding the foot, sliding the heel along the floor. So looking for some opening in the front of the the left thigh, left hip. Maybe you feel this behind your right leg as well. So if you only feel this in the right hamstring, that's very, very fine. It depends where we have tightness. If straightening the left leg feels too much right now, you can always keep it bent. Take another breath or two in and out. And keep shoulders soft, keep neck soft. And then if you have that left leg extended, slowly bend the left knee so that you bring your left foot back onto the mat. And release the right foot down. We'll do same on the other side. We're going to bring the left knee towards the chest. Again, arms could also just stay down on the mat. And maybe already here, you feel there's some opening in the front of the right thigh. If you want to go further, just slowly slide that right foot, right heel further down. And this side might be different. I definitely feel this side is much tighter, so I can't even straighten that right leg fully. There's a lot of tension on the front of that right leg, hip. So I'm going to stay on this edge, but you might go further. Feel free to straighten that right leg all the way down if that feels okay. And wherever you are, breathe on your own edge. Breathe in and out. Let the exhalations release tension. The breath is such an important part when we do our stretches. It sends the message to our nerves, our muscles to release tension, release that holding. Take a couple more breaths in and out. And then when you feel that you're ready to release that stretch, slowly bend the right leg if you have it extended. Bring the left foot down. And then press your feet onto the mat so that you can lift your pelvis off the floor. It's not off the floor, off the block, and bring the pelvis onto the floor. So release back down. And from here we have two more poses. First, walk your feet closer together and open your hips into a butterfly pose so your knees turn out to the sides. Now, if you want, you could use blocks under the legs, or you could just let your knees drop closer to the floor. Let the inner thighs soften. Keep your buttocks soft. So this is more for that inside of the legs. There might be a bit of back bending going on in the spine, and as long as that's not painful, it's very fine to have it there. Take another breath or two in and out. And then slowly, we're going to bring the legs back to the center. And then leave your knees, your thighs, close together and walk your feet out to the sides. So now we'll let the hips rotate the other way. So now feet move out to the sides, knees, thighs leaning in against each other. This will be our final pose. So after that butterfly, let the hips rotate inwards. Often we're just going open, open, open into those butterfly type of poses. But equally important when we release tension around the legs and hips is to go the other way. So allow that internal rotation as well. And you might observe which way is more natural to you, where you might feel more tightness, where you might feel more ease. Let's take another breath or two in and out. And then we slowly start to walk the feet back to the center and swing the legs from side to side. Just a bit of movement after those longer stretches. And then from your back, roll onto one side and help yourself all the way up into a seat. Good. So this was our practice for the legs today. I hope it gave you maybe some ideas how we can practice without putting weight on the hands and wrists, but still work quite intensely around the lower body, get those stretches to release tension around the legs. If you have any questions, any comments about the practice, please let me know in the comment section below. And also subscribe to the channel, leave thumbs up for the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!